So we just have to keep doing it on and on until we master it. Because in the last class we were able to identify key zones, how to identify our um, obvious supports and major resistance. So we use this as an example. We can see that with this New Zealand USD, which is NZD USD, we have a major zone here, and at the opposite ends you can see this is the resistance. It is a major resistance. This is a major support. So if you look at what happened on this chart now, you can see, why do we call this support a major? Can you give me
The reason why we call it a major.
yes, why do we call it a major? Or why do we call this resistance a major resistance? Why? You don't know it?
No, no idea.
No idea. It is very, very simple. We treated this in the last class. The reason why these places are major zones is simply because if you look at this resistance, this was the last place. See, this was the last place the market started falling from.
Okay.
You understand? So with this one now, we can say this is a major resistance because this was the last place the sellers started selling the market from. So it shows this zone is a strong zone for the sellers. And now, as it is a strong zone for the sellers, we can see with this support we identify as a major support. So this is the last place here the buyers started buying this sell market from. You can see. So we don't just want to make a decision. How do we know a support is strong? A support is strong if we have at least two touches. And if you look at this support now, this is the first touch, right?
Yes.
And this is the what? The second touch. Now, if you take close attention to what happened here, you can see the market reaches a point here whereby we had, you can see the market reaches a point whereby we had a first touch, right? And we had a second touch which the sellers are rejecting from. And again, we are currently on what? We are
On the
currently
third.
on the third touch. Thank you. The reason why we see this place as this is now a resistance. So this resistance zone now, we will classify it as a minor resistance or a major resistance.
The the, the point, that's a minor.
Yes, it is a minor because it is still in the range of this major resistance and the major support. So the reactions we are seeing here is the buyers are unable to break this particular zone. We can see uptrend continuation if only the buyers, if they break out of this zone. So if they break out of this zone, this was normally a resistance, it's now a resistance, it's a minor resistance, right? Because we've had at least two touches and now we are currently on the third touch. So with this third touch, if the sellers are able to push the price down, we should expect this market to come where? All the way to the major support to create its what?
Third touch.
Exactly, to create a third touch. Now, if the market creates this third touch here, this is where we will be looking to anticipate to buy. this market. But if we now buy this market here, we expect the market to go where? To go to the minor zone first. If you are to expect the market to reach this major zone, the market have some obstacles, and this is the first test for it. So this buy we are this once the market reaches this support, we expect the market to come and test this minor. So once it breaks out through this minor zone and it retests, because you know that once we have a breakout, we always want to wait for what? For a retest. So with this retest, if we intend to join this buy, if we join this buy here, where are we targeting? We are targeting the major what? Resistance. So you can see now. You can see. So now, you see why it is very very important, because this major resistance zone, has it been tested? Has it been tested at all?
Tested.
Yes. Have we, after this first touch, have we seen any other touch on it?
On the major aspect.
Yes.
Major.
Yes.
Uh,
We have not seen any other touch. So this, yes. So if this second one that is going touches, the reason why we classify it as a major, you can see this is just where the market started selling off aggressively from. You understand? You can see how the market started selling aggressively. So it signifies that once the market reached there, we still have people, sellers, who are waiting for the market to reach there before they make their sell. You understand? So sometimes, if we are not to experience this scenario now, and we decided to see a breakout from this third touch here, once we experience a breakout again, what do we want to wait for? We want to wait for a pullback to test that breakout zone, because you know before this pullback, this was a resistance before. So once we break out of it, we are anticipating the resistance to turn into what? A support. So once it turns into a support, we are eyeing the market to go all the way to the overall major resistance. You understand? So now, with this resistance turn support, are we going to classify this support as our major support or a minor support zone?
major.
No, now it can't be major again. We still have our major down here. It will be a minor. You understand? It will be a minor in sense that once the price gets to this place here, this major resistance here, if the sellers were able to hold this place, they will push the price back to this minor support. You understand? This minor support. So once they push the price to this minor support, it depends on if the buyers are able to hold this support zone. So if the buyers hold this support zone, they will push it back for us to experience the what? The third touch at this resistance. You understand? So at this third touch, if the sellers are able to still push the price from that zone, we will expect the market again to come back to this minor support. And if this minor support was not able to hold this sell we are seeing, we will experience a what? What are we going to experience?
It is
If this third touch that is coming down here, if this minor support did not hold, and instead we experience a market breaks through it, what have we just experienced?
that's it has gone beyond. It's heading to the support zone.
Exactly. And what happened is very simple. It has break out through that support, through this minor support. And with this breakout, we expect the market to what? To retest that breakout zone. So that support now will automatically now turn into a what? A resistance. And if this sell comes all the way here, that means we are now having what? Our third touch at this major what? This major resistance. So the buyers now will be looking to buy this market at this zone. So if they bought the market, what will happen again? They will buy it all the way to test what? This minor resistance.
Okay.
You understand? Now you can see how the market is moving from one zone to the other. So what we want to just identify is, once we are able to identify our obvious major zones are the opposites. Major zone, like in the sense that we have been able to identify our major resistance and we identify our major zones. The market will create some minor zones. And how do we identify minor zones again? It is very, very simple. Once a market is unable to break through a particular range or zone, so that means that zone is now a minor zone. So in this sense, we've been able to identify a minor zone because we had a first touch here, a second touch, and currently we are experiencing the third touch. So with this third touch, we can say this is a minor resistance zone currently. So it depends on what happens here for us to make that decision. If the buyers are able to break out of this minor zone, that means we'll be anticipating to buy. So if they failed and the sellers start selling the market from here, they will push the market all the way to this major support. So you can see. So for us to have a support or a resistance, there must have been some obvious previous things that happened, because with a support we are using a previous data of what the market has done to predict what will happen in the future. You understand? So now with this major zone, the market has done something previously, and what the market did here is very, very straightforward, because we could see that the buyers had done some kind of processing here. They pushed the market from here, from this downtrend market we are seeing. They tried to push the market up from here. The sellers came in again, they push it back at where they started pushing the market up from. So it signifies that now so far we have two touches. Is this zone is now proving to be a strong zone. So with this being a strong zone, if the sellers eventually still try to push the price all the way down to this support, we should also be looking to buy. And we don't just want to make a decision to buy alone. And if we want to buy, and if you look at this second touch, what candlestick did we see to give us that buy confirmation?
That's money, sir.
Exactly. You can see why it is very, very important for us too, as we are understanding our structure, the structure. We are getting to understand our support and resistance. But this thing, we don't just want to make any decision. We want to see something. You can see why it is very, very important to understand your candlestick confirmation, because with this morning star, it signifies, it gave us that confirmation we need to make us understand that it seems the buyers, they are ready to push the price up from this second touch. Now with this second touch, you can see how the market bought aggressively. You can see how the buyers, how they bought the market aggressively to this point here. When the market got to this point, the sellers came in, they sold the market to this region. The buyers came in again, they retested this place for the second touch. We had the first touch here, we had the second touch here, and now we are currently experiencing the third touch. In the last class, I explained to us that we should be anticipating the market to come, because as at last week the market was around this region. You can see how the market came all the way to test, to give us a third touch. So for scalpers or for day traders, they will be looking to join this market here. And if you look at the candlestick confirmation we are seeing so far, let's zoom and see. You could see we are seeing some kind of, what candlestick is this? This single one at the this bearish one at the middle.
I can't see.
You can see.
I can see. That's Harami, very Harami.
Well, we can say yes, it's a bearish arami, but I said it's a single pattern. But if we could use our single pattern, this is a spinning top, right? With a spinning top, we expect a candlestick like it that has a body. You can see this is a spinning top. If you remember your candlestick, you see this is this. You can see it's still the same thing. And with a spinning top, if you are spotting a spinning top at the top of a zone whereby we are looking to sell the market, it's trying to signify it seems the sellers are in control. You understand? So we can still say it is a bearish. If you are using a two confirmation candlestick, yes, it is obvious, it is still a double candlestick. But with the bullish arami, it is not strong enough, and with the bearish arami, it is not strong enough to make use of a confirmation. You understand? But it is just an indication that it seems the sellers, they are willing to sell the market at this level. So now you can see we are still observing what is happening, but so far we could tell that with this third touch, it seems the sellers what they want to sell the market from this third touch. And always, no matter how long it takes, we don't want to make a confirmation, an entry, or validate a particular zone, a resistance zone or a support zone, until we see the third touch. So if you are looking to sell this market, this is like a perfect time for us to consider once we see our candlestick confirmation. So now let's say we've made the decision based off of this, and we enter our trade here. And where will our stop loss be? At the top of the candle, and we are targeting at least 1:3, or if you want to do aggressive a swing, you are swinging to these minor zones here, and you can see how the market is selling. So you could see now, but don't forget we are still trading a minor zone, because this is a minor zone. The overall major resistance is still at the top, but we are leveraging on the inability of the buyers to push past this zone. So with this kind of situation, we can just say it seems the sellers are more in control, because the sellers are still willing to sell this market at this zone. Because if you see what happened here, we had a first touch, we had a second touch, and we always want to make an entry or consider a trade at the third touch only. Mr. Adetola, welcome. Do you remember this analysis I did in the last class? Good afternoon. Do you remember that we had a major zone and also a major support? We have a major support and also a major resistance, and I told you that this one we are experiencing is a minor zone. That we've seen a first touch and we've seen a second touch. That we are expecting the market to come all the way to give us a third touch. So we don't want to make a decision on that third touch until we see something. So if the buyers are strong enough, we'll be seeing a breakout. But if they are weak, if the sellers are more, we will be seeing a sell continuation respecting these minor zones. So I explained that for us in the last class, what we are expected to off of this market. So you can see what we are currently trading off is the minor resistance zone. We've had a first touch, we had a second touch, and we had a third touch. And also let us understand that once this minor zone did not hold, and we experience a breakout, with that breakout we expect the market to break out of this minor resistance zone, and once the breakout happens, we expect market to what, to give us a what, with the breakout, what are we expecting the market to give us?
To come back to the support.
Exactly, we're expecting the market to come back and test the breakout zone. So once the market tests this breakout, we can now say, since this resistance has turned into a support, so with the support we will now be looking to buy. So if we are looking to buy, we want to be looking for some confirmations, bullish confirmation patterns that will make us make that decision of buying the market, and we are holding all the way to the major resistance zone. So now, but currently we could see that what we are experiencing currently, we are seeing that the sellers, we are seeing that the sellers, they are rejecting this minor zone. So with this rejection, we are currently on looking at the sell of this market, at least targeting 3R, 1:3. So in this sense, we are risking 100 to profit 300. You can see. So, and the market, if you see what is happening currently, it seems the sellers are still selling and the market is falling. The supply is more than the demand currently. So any questions so far? Let's go and analyze another market. Did I give you an assignment? So I think I gave you an assignment. Here, what are we seeing here? What are we seeing here? You could, where did I just identify? What did I just identify on this 4-hour chart of USD What can you notice? Someone should explain to me. What can you know? What do you notice? What do you notice?
There is three touches on the support zone.
Exactly. You can see now we have 3 touches at this support zone, and if you look at this, the first touch, you could see after that first touch, you could see how market so after that first touch, you could see how the market bought aggressively. So this aggressively the market bought, what led to the sell again, you could see here. What will now be this place? This place now, we will now be looking at this place as our what? As our what? Resistance. And if you look at this, have we touched the resistance at all? You can see we just add a first touch on the resistance, and now we able to identify this as our resistance. Very, very simple. This was the last place the market started selling off from. Here being support, this was the last place that started this movement we are seeing. Here, this was the last place that started this sell we are seeing. Very, very simple and straightforward. We've been able to identify our support and resistance with this now. The support being first, the first touch is our support. The second touch, now the third touch, which is what we want to see. And mind you, you can sometimes with a move like this, you can also decide to make your entry at second touch, but you should know the risk involved. But it is always advisable to wait for the third touch, because that third touch signifies how strong a zone can be. But if you are sometimes, if you are making your decision based off of the second touch, you don't know yet whether maybe this zone you are considering is strong enough. But that second touch has given us that confirmation, signifying how strong this zone is. Because you could see, you could see from this pictorial example that we had a first touch, the market sold all the way down and respected this. Even you could see how aggressively the market sold. But this support was able to hold this sell. And when the market got here, it shows the interest of the buyers to buy this market. And they buy this market to a particular point whereby it started selling again. And the sellers came in again and they sold the market down to this major resistance zone. So if they now ask us, now you can see that it is obvious that this zone, this support zone, is a strong zone, because we are seeing that as the market is coming, as the market started with the first touch, it came with the second touch, it bounced off it, came for the third one. Now currently we've experienced a bounce as well, which is what is leading to this buy market we are seeing. And if you look at what gave us that confirmation for this bullish candle, what gave us the confirmation? What candlestick can you see here? What candlestick pattern can we see that gave us that confirmation? There are several candlesticks here that I can state. Hello? What confirmation did we notice? Did we see? Because you know that if we are considering with this sell market now, if we are considering to join this trade here, this is where we'll be looking at. We are looking to join the buy at the third touch. So, but before we join the buy, what are the things you look out for you to make that decision to take the buy trade? What candlestick can you see here?
I'm not seeing your mouse.
Yeah. This zone.
Yeah.
What candlestick can we see?
That's piercing line candle.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moses. That's a piercing line. And we know with a piercing line, it is obvious that the buyers are coming in a strategic way. Because if you look at the first candle that happened, it opened here and it closes down here. And the next candle that opened, it closes here, it opens here, and the sellers push the price down. But when this market closes, it closes more than the 50% of the bearish candle. It closes inside. And with that, we could signify it seems to, even if you look at the second candle that formed, it's more of like a dragonfly, right?
Yeah.
Yes, because we know during the formation of this candle, the sellers, they try to push the price down. But when this candle closes, it closes above. And it's still an indication. It seems the buyers still want to push this price to the upside. They are rejecting this zone. It shows how strong this zone is. And if you look at this candle here, I'll be happy if we can identify this candle. What candle is this? This one I'm currently on.
That is Marabuzo.
Ah, thank you very much, Mr. Moses. Perfect. It's a Marabuzo candle. And we know with a Marabuzo, buy pressure. So even if you are looking at this zone, you can see how our candlestick pattern is very, very important for us. We have been able to understand, interpret what the market is telling, is trying to do. You could see that we had a bearish candle, we had a piercing line candle that closes inside the range of the bearish candle. After that, we are still waiting. We still saw a dragonfly indicating rejection. The willingness of the buyers to keep buying this market is high. But what now gave us that overall confirmation that this zone is going to hold, is strong enough? This Marabuzo candle. This Marabuzo candle gives us that confirmation we need, signifying the pressure, the buy pressure from this zone is strong. And if we look after that Marabuzo formation, we are now experiencing an uptrend market. You can see how the market bought all the way. Now let's look if we have made our decision based off of this Marabuzo candle. If we have made our decision based off of this Marabuzo candle, putting our stop loss here and targeting at least with this aggressive entry, targeting this high that has served as minor, you could see how we could have banked 1:10. Imagine for swing, you could see 1:10 in the sense that we are risking $10 to profit $1,000. You can see how crazy it is. So we don't just make a decision based off of this. We've seen something because we are anticipating with the third touch. A lot of people will be anticipating to join this market at the third touch. Now they've joined at the third touch and they've made their decision. They've made their entry here. Swing traders will have used this 4 hour for confirmation, and they entered here. They held this trade all the way to this place here, and once the market reaches this take profit, it started selling. Because now we are experiencing what again here? We are experiencing a minor what? A minor what here? What are we experiencing here now?
Minor resistance.
Exactly. We are experiencing a minor resistance. Why? Because we know that when this sale happened and the market sold here, right? The market go all the way again to test it. Now with this second touch, we don't know what will happen, but we could visibly see that when the market came at the second touch, we are seeing a sell-off. So this sell we are seeing now is a possibility whereby the sell might come all the way to this overall major support. And if the price comes to this support again here, we should be anticipating to head to this minor resistance. But if you ask me, before the price can come down all the way to this major support, there is also a minor support here. Can someone tell me why I identify this as a minor support as well? Why do I identify this as a minor support? Exactly. It is very, very simple, because we see that when there is a pullback from this place, we are seeing a buy. Sellers push it down back here, but this is where the buyers now push this price up to this place, but they fail to break through this minor resistance here. So you can now see we are having zones inside zones, identifying or signifying that we've identified our major supports and resistance, but there are still some fights inside this zone, because we know the market is a tug of war between the buyers and the sellers. Yes, they will always want to know who is in control, but here we've been able to identify a minor support here, zone inside zone, minor zones inside a major zone. Now with this being our minor zone, we've seen a first touch, second touch, and you could see this current touch is what? This current touch is what? This is the third touch on this minor support zone, right? Is this not the third touch?
I'm seeing four dots.
Yes, this is the third touch, because this is the first, the second that confirms this zone, and now the third at a minor support zone. So with this third touch, if we are making a decision based off of this third touch, and we need to see a candle, what kind of candle we want to be looking at? We need to be looking for our bullish confirmation candle. So with the bullish confirmation candle, if you look at what we are seeing so far here, it's looking impressive. Firstly, we saw an inverse hammer, but that closes bullish. Now, followed by, what candlestick is this? What candlestick can we call this? What candlestick can we call this? Eh? No now, no now, no now. It is a doji, but it's not okay. Let me come in with that. We can't say it is a doji, because if you look at it, a doji, we want to see a balance, something like equilibrium, because we know with a doji we want to be seeing something like this, a plus. I'm coming. Exactly, it's a dragonfly, but I just want to show you the difference. See, there's difference between this plus and price giving us an obvious closure. You can see this is, with this plus, you could see this is a doji, and this signifies indecision between the buyers and the seller. No one is in control during this section. But here you could see that if you look closely at this candle, let me zoom it. If you look closely at this candle, we could see that it seems the buyers closes higher, because if this candle closes halfway, if this candle closes if this candle closes sorry if this candle closes halfway like this, halfway, we would have said it's a doji. But we could see that looking at the height of it, when this market opens and when it closes, it's still at the same place. But if you look at the wicks rejection, the wicks is longer compared to the one at the top. So that makes us call this a dragonfly. You understand? So it's a dragonfly. If this closure was around the middle, we can say it's a doji. It's an indecision candle. And with a dragonfly, it's also an indecision. We want to wait. But what dragonfly is trying to let us understand is that there is a rejection below. Because during this section, the sellers sold this market down aggressively. But because before the closure of this candle, the buyers were able to push the price back to the open, signifying rejection, signifying the willingness of the buyers to buy that particular market. So with this, what we are seeing so far, we could see that with this third touch, the buys are coming. And these buys that is coming, they are eyeing the market to go all the way to where? To this minor. You can see that there is still a fight between these minor zones, right? To see who will be in control. So if the price comes to this minor resistance and we experience a breakout, we will be looking for a retest again. And if we experience a retest, we are looking for the market to go all the way to the what? To the major resistance. So you could see. So this trade now, we have seen two opportunities so far. We have seen these two opportunities. So now let's assume we are making decision. We are entering this trade now. we are longing because we've seen some confirmation. We are taking this trade and we are targeting, boy. Where are we targeting? And our stop loss is, imagine, this will have this, if this trade go all the way, we are still 1:9. For example, we are risking $100 to profit what? $900. So you could see how we able to achieve this, because we understand how we can identify our minor zones and our major zones. So sometimes in your major zones, you will be seeing minor zones formation. That minor zones formation is still like a fight between the buyers and sellers, trying to win and know who is in control. So with this minor zone now, we've decided to make an entry based off of this third touch. This second touch let us understand how stronger this minor zone is. And if you look at the second touch, you can see how the market bought aggressively to this upper part here. So it signifies that the market, once the market comes back here for a third touch, we expect this zone to hold, because using the previous data, the buyers have done something here. So it shows that this market came all the way here. People who are interested to buy this market, as I have bought now, this is where they want to buy this market again. So once the demand is higher than the supply, we'll be seeing a continuation to test that minor resistance. You understand? You can see how easy and simple it is, how straightforward it is. Do we have a question before we call it a day for today? Do we have... No question.
No question,
So Mr. Adetola, do you have a question as well? Okay, I don't think he's in the class again. So we not having a question, so we've been able to see how we move from zones to zones. So we'll keep on using various examples, because it is very, very important to not mistake zones for zones, because these are these areas whereby we are looking to buy, to join, to make our decision to buy a particular market. So the more we keep analyzing different assets, the more it sticks to us. So by then we'll be able to also identify it ourselves. So in the next class we'll be continuing from where we stopped for today. So enjoy the rest of your day, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, sir.
Thank you. Blessed be.